everyone gave consent to be recorded?
Yes.
All right, cool. Yes. Good.
This is magical.
All right. Yeah, I don't know why it's acting like this. So that's weird. Hopefully the closed captioning goes away. But all right. Did everyone have a good Valentine's Day?
Whatever, right? We never celebrate anything. I made my wife breakfast in bed and made the kids.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's no big deal.
Yeah, we really didn't do anything. It's like Halloween, it's kind of just for the kids or whatnot. So
totally.
Yeah. What about you, kitty face?
I had a licking good time. No. It's same thing. Like my parents asked, like, "Oh, do you want the day off so you can?" It's like we don't do anything. So no.
Yeah.
All right.
I will say we put a hard veto, like the gift bags Henry got from daycare and like was freaking ridiculous. Like the what kids give as Valentines now is over the top, and we're like, nope, we're not. We refuse to buy into that. We'll buy like one of those little cards and put like a Hershey's kiss on it or something.
Yeah.
We just did blow pops with like their names on them.
Yeah, this my kid came home with like so much stuff from school. It was ridiculous. And then like I was like dropping him off in the morning. This other dad who I've never talked to, but he just came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, you want to know a good business plan?" I was like, "Yeah," like, and he's like, "We buy up all like the two of us, like we're gonna buy up all the Valentines, and then when everyone's looking for them at the last minute, we sell them to them." I guess that's not like a business. It's like a one-day scheme, And he's like, "I was like 5 places last night and couldn't find anything," and I was like, "Yeah, I didn't." I couldn't find any either. I thought they were like just like I remember as a kid, like you went into like every store and they had all those boxes of stuff. They're like,
it's candy's super expensive too, like stupid expensive. So it's like I don't want to be spending any more than I have to.
Yeah, and I feel like at my kid's school, there's like this arms race of like showing off your like swag bag, and it's like I don't care, what other people think. Like we made a nice little card and we sent it to everyone, and the teacher didn't even like tell us they were doing anything. So I was kind of like, I don't want to send them to school with like a bunch of crap, and then they're like, "Yeah, we don't sell it. Like no one celebrates Valentine's Day anymore or whatever, So I was like, "Here's a card, hand him out," and then he was stoked to get like a fucking bucket load of candy. And so
did you guys really do the Viking card?
Yeah, we did.
Did you make them?
Yeah, I'll grab one and I'll put on.
Those things were super badass.
Yeah, that was an awesome. I'm all for the handcrafty, like maybe I will take a note out of your book, Josh. And
dude, your face filter is so creepy, man.
What?
So yeah, here, like I gotta change the screen, I guess. All right, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, like here it is. Like,
yeah, dude, that's badass.
Yeah, it says the best ship is friendship. And then like my kid did nothing. He didn't even want to lick the envelopes. We have like a cutting machine, so I was like, I'll just find the easiest thing to do. And like this is the dumbest slogan I could think of. And then like he didn't sign them. I had a pen, wrote the whole thing, and then we cut them out. I did all of them. And I felt like super guilty because I was like, everyone shows off at school, right? But then like there were like people like some, how you're not supposed to like bring baked goods or whatever from homemade. Like there's some people that like put them in like these like plastic containers so it looks like looks like they're from a store. I was like, they're just an elaborate amount of work to I don't for like kindergarten Valentines. It's insane.
That's funny. The first thing I thought of though was The Simpsons, where Burns sends his friendship to Homer in his beer, and it sinks, and then he tries to go and get it out of his beer, and he like loses a fingernail, and he's like, "Oh, that's leprosy for you."
It's funny because I thought when I was making it, I thought about like Ralph Wiggum's card, like I choose you.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Look in the tunk. He must mean trunk.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember like any memorable Valentine's Day things like growing up. I think Drew's not here, so we're three-fourths ingredients of the stew tonight. But like, were you the one that he was talking about with the roses for each period in class?
No. I wish I could. I'd take some. Like I thought about it, and I was like, I actually only gave one person roses, I think sophomore year, and it was just one period. Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife, like, I was saying, like, Valentine's Day sucks. Like for like I was taught high school for like 10 years. And I hated like Valentine's Day because the kids were insane. There'd be like helium balloons in your classroom and like giant teddy bears. Like this is ridiculous. Like no one meets someone they love in high school, or they shouldn't, or I don't know. Just thought it was kind of corny. Like, well,
right into dudes too at Gmail. If you've been high school sweethearts and married for 50 years,
you're like, hey, like you gave me a rose every period, and now we're together forever. Like it just seemed like a weird thing. And so
I think
this is like more of a distraction than anything. So this is like the first year I haven't been working at a high school, and I was like, I'm so glad I don't have to put up with that crap or like whatever like weird gesture people throw at each other for Valentine's Day, or kids throw at each other for Valentine's Day,
or even like asking somebody to prom now. Like it's insane. Where it's like full blown. Like there's this stupid ninja kids on YouTube that the girls watch, and they would like, I guess like the oldest, they're probably like in their like late teens now, and they're like
Colt and Tum Tum.
The three ninjas? Oh no. Actually, I think their dad is he wrote for Power Rangers. He was like a writer or a stuntman on Power Rangers. Anyway, they have all these like stupid videos, and they're getting older, so they're getting like way more out of like the comfort zone of like a 4-year-old to watch. And it's like, ask your crush to prom, and there's just like one kid did this fucking scavenger hunt for his like prom date. And it was like, yo, I remember just be like, hey, you want to go to prom?
Yeah,
sure. All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to this thing that nobody else really wants to go to?
Well, I always felt like kids put like way more effort into asking for the attention they got from that, and then you go like chaperone the prom, and like no one's dancing or like like they're hanging out by the punch bowl or whatever, and it's like you guys cared so much about this thing, but like you're not like doing the thing that's like you're there to do is like dance or whatever.
Yeah, I left a girl at prom one time.
Didn't you? I kind of did too at OK Prom. Yeah. Didn't she come up and like spit at you or something? Or
no, she was like, yeah, that was the date. That was the one where you're like, we're gonna split everything 50-50. And yeah, I think you bounced, and then I was just standing there because I was like, I guess like my chick was awful, and I was like, well, I guess this is it. Like, I don't know anybody here. And then I was going to just walk home and just from like across town. And then she walked up and she's like, when you see him again, kick him in the nuts. And I was like, all right, whatever. Like, sure, no problem. And then that song, I'll be your crying shoulder, started playing.
It was your prom, Josh.
Which year was it?
It was. I think it was senior year.
No, it was like maybe
Was it
junior?
Was it
I
junior
didn't
year?
go to like prom.
I just remember. I remember hiding under the table by Ryan Coyne when Melinda came. Like she was looking for me, and I ducked under the table. And Ryan's like, I don't know where he went. I think he went over to the bathroom.
I think he
like
he threw flash paper at somebody's face. Yeah, that was like they were always just so weird. Like I don't know, man. Do they still do them though, right? They still do proms?
Josh? Okay, yes, yeah.
Oh yeah, we just talked about that video.
Like, but it's like wild, like when they're like, like you as a teacher, you got to like do some activity every year, and so like a couple times they're like short on prom chaperones. So I'm like, I'll do it,
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, your job is to stand in the backyard and make sure no one hops over the fence. Like weird jobs where you're like, this is like a social thing for like kids to learn how to like, dress nice and like treat someone nicely. And then it's like make sure no one's like jumping off the walls or whatever. And you're like, this isn't like an insane kind of order. Cause like no one knows how to behave. And I don't know. I just feel like it's cool, but like people spend like hundreds of dollars on their whole getup.
Yeah, I mean, I think I only went to like one, or I think I only went to two. It was the one with you, and then it was the one where I left the girl at the dance, and it was like, let's blow. She was just super mean, man. Like she was just really shitty. And then
she's one of the skater group, right?
Yeah, like somehow it just happened. It was that thing where you're like, oh, you're not going, I'm not going, you want to go? And then it just got like weird. And then it was like, hey, we're gonna take off. And she was like, okay. I was like, I don't know, high five. Like, see ya. Like, but
I don't know. I always told students, I was like, look, like high school is like one of those things where it's like, this is like the most exciting thing so far. Like it will not surpass anything else you do in life though. Like the birth of your kids, your real wedding, like whatever, like nothing is going to like, I never looked back.
Even your fake wedding.
High school graduation was amazing. Or like, I loved prom. Like it was okay for like being 17 and having like zero experience doing anything else. So like,
yeah, you don't know anything
that's
else.
exciting, but like,
yeah.
Like you ride in a limo somewhere else, or like get a tux just for the fuck of it. Like I don't know why you need like 200 of your like social acquaintances from the classes you were put in, like without your consent, like around you to do it. Just have a party somewhere else. Like it just seems like a weird tradition that like kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, but there is like the social aspect too, where you kind of do like. It almost kind of did break down those walls though too, because you would be all of a sudden you'd be like, oh, I don't normally hang out with these people and I'm at dinner with them or something like that, or like whatever, or you're at a party, like there always be like crazy parties afterwards. But I mean, I don't know. I would pay good money for like a video highlight reel of all like of high school. That'd be pretty good. If there was like a docu,
you hire a photographer to follow you for your 4 years of high school. Like this will pay off in 20 years. Trust me.
Do you guys remember there was like that show? It was like on PBS, and it was like about American high schoolers, and it was like it came out. No, it was like a documentary thing, and then like
American Pie.
Yeah. Probably. But like the Bouncing Souls did like the theme song to it, and it was just like a document. It was just before 9/11, so like kind of like 2000 2001ish, and it was like on PBS. But it was like this is a cool way to follow like high schoolers and see what they're doing, and like nothing was that special, but like you could see that kind of aspect where it's like this is special to them, and like we all went through this time where things were like. The volume was like turned up to 11 on your life, and you felt like, like oh God, we got to get the limo, or like tonight's the night. It's never gonna, we'll never have this night back. And like,
try harder.
No, like what? I don't. It was called like American something, like
American Pie.
No, like
Oh, American High.
American Psycho.
Maybe, I don't know. I just remember it was like the Bouncing Souls had the theme song. I can't see it.
American High.
Maybe.
American,
I don't know. I'm gonna look.
That's
2001.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's coming up when you Google PBS high school.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, I think so. And then there was it was crazy. There was a kid that didn't graduate because he did something crazy at the end. And I was like,
oh, dance.
I was like, yeah, this American. No, it resonated with me because I was like,
no comment.
Yeah,
it was like that guy. That was like the best guy on the show. You're like, this kid's crazy. He's got it all. He's trying to do everything, and you're like,
he's doing burnouts in an Astro van. Yeah, I don't know.
You forgot one point, Josh, about your Valentine's Day that you told me earlier of how these kids can orchestrate this awesome concept with the balloons and the bear and all that, but then they can't turn their essay in on time or whatever.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and I guess that's part of learning too, is all right, you can put together something real rather than some bullshit assignment I got to give you. It's like, oh, you're actualizing your learning by I don't know, wooing some chick or whatever. But yeah, it was kind of annoying because it'd be this time of year because prom comes up in May or whatever. You someone knocks on your door and they're in the middle of your lesson, can we do a promposal? And they have a camera and you're like, dude, no. Can't you do it at lunch? Why is that in the middle of my class?
So you would be teaching a class and all of a sudden it'd be hey, Mr. Oren, I gotta ask Ashley.
Oh, we had promposals during water polo practice when Josh and I were coaching. We're like,
oh, right.
What? We taught at a boys' school.
Yeah, they would do. The girls would come and ask the boys to prom. You don't. That. Oh yeah.
No.
I just remember Jack Gordon saying no to her. Everyone's
take it off the air and you just said his name, dude.
Oh,
yeah, his dad's gonna come after us.
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess we have a ways to go before our kids are doing prom stuff. But I remember our good friend Brett. We went to a prom, and I didn't really party before prom, but you had to go through a metal detector, and he went through and he had a bottle cap in his pocket, and he was like, "Oh, it must have been in the tux when I got it," and they were just kind of like, "All right, just keep it moving." You basically already paid. You paid to be here. We're not going to turn you away. So
what I thought was nuts was you could go, people could bring outside guests or whatever, and they're like, "This is my 21-year-old boyfriend," and it was first of all, are they getting you drunk beforehand or and then they're showing what's the 21-year-old that's dating an 17-year-old doing at prom? Okay.
My brother was at our junior year prom.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude.
He
out of here. Josh took off.
Yeah. He's like, "Nah, I'm done."
I can't be a part of this.
Yeah. He was dating Amber, his wife.
Oh, yeah. That's the American Pie? Or an American Graffiti behind you?
American Graffiti, yeah.
I have that one too. That is a very solid soundtrack, I will say.
Oh, it has freaking actual recordings of Wolfman Jack coming at you. It's gonna be hot, hot, hot.
Yeah, I have it. I've never seen the movie, but the soundtrack rules.
Movie's okay, but the soundtrack is amazing, and I really actually want to see a biopic on Wolfman Jack. I think his story is insane.
Is it?
Yeah, he was actually doing pirate radio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I was just looking at the show notes. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I was just looking at the show notes. Sorry, but yeah, I just know that he was super popular. He was one of the original like rock and roll DJ guys, and he was part wolf.
Yeah, part
It was Siberian Husky.
Jack coming at you. And he liked popsicles.
Did you guys watch Super Bowl?
No.
We went to a Super Bowl party and I just ate the entire time.
I did like the past 5 years I've been like looking at my phone for the score like about the time when it's over. And then I'm like, oh, it's going to be a close one, and then that's about it. I'm like,
dude, I did the exact same thing. Like, it was on. We went to my wife's mom and stepdad's house, and they live like 15 minutes from us. And we went, and I was kind of like watching, like, oh, this is a pretty close game. Like, it's not like a blowout or like bullshit game. And then when we left, it was tied. And when we came home, I turned it on, and then after like 30 seconds, I was like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
Right.
Yeah. It's just funny watching it with older people that are like, who's Rihanna? Like, what is this? Oh, why does she have to do that? And you're like, dude, fucking, I don't know, man. Like, let them play. Just let them play.
I mean, I feel like it's a holiday for people. Like I was going out looking for Valentines for my kid that morning, and every place was like packed with people like getting ready for the Super Bowl. And I was like, this is insane. It's like a condensed Christmas day or something. Everyone's out shopping and getting ready. And like I don't think I've ever watched it. Like when my wife and I, before we were married, we lived in San Mateo, and we had this apartment that was like across the street from a house with a big screen TV. And so like we used to like look across the street to see what the Super Bowl was doing. And it was like my wife was being so much, stop looking at the neighbors. I'm like, no, I can see the score. Like,
just go over there and talk to them. Yeah, I don't know. It's always one of those things where I'm like, I mean, I think we stayed here and it was on last year, and like after like a little bit, we watched the halftime show because it was the G-Funk era, which was pretty cool. You said they were watching that in your class?
Yes. Yeah. I was subbing in a special ed class. And so like, they don't got a lot of tough curriculum. So we were like reading like the Super Bowls this weekend. And then, like we kind of had like 15 minutes before we had to do something else. And we're like, well, why don't we see a halftime show? And so I was like, let's watch this one, because I heard it was good. And like, it was amazing. I know it's like a year ago, but I was like, that was tight. Like I have no connection to like hip hop or anything. Like it's not like there's nothing that I connect to like other than listening to it. I was like proud of those guys. I was like, they've come so far. Like, can you believe it? Like I remember what was that video where they're like, they're having the barbecue and all their hats are like blurred out.
Oh yeah.
Ain't nothing but a G thing.
Yeah, it was nothing but a G thing.
Yeah. Like I'm like I remember when you guys were young. You know, and like if I was just like, wow, what a great halftime show.
Well, and it's crazy too because SoFi is in Inglewood, like it's on the border of Compton, so it really was like. And I think I don't think they gave Dr. Dre complete control, but I think he like directed and produced the entire thing. So there's a really
they gave him a lot of control. Him and then his who's the white guy that's like, I forgot it. It's
Eminem.
It's not Eminem. No, it's like the main. It's like another producer that like gave them a lot of money.
No, Jimmy Iovine.
Wow,
is that it?
You could just be
saying that.
No, I think it. Are you talking about that documentary on HBO? The Defiant.
I think so. I just know they were talking about like how he was pushing to get all those performers into the halftime show for years.
So that's Jimmy Iovine, and he's like. He was a producer for John Lennon, and then he went on to Bruce Springsteen.
Yes, that sounds
It's called The Defiant Ones. It's on HBO Max. It's unbelievable. It's so good. Like it's like those guys are geniuses. And then they interview their wives, and they're like, yeah, when these guys are sick, they're like the fucking sickest people on the face of the earth. It's crazy. Like they're the biggest pussies. But it's super interesting. Really cool. Just like they're both billionaires. It's insane. And like they're like they're filming part of it while Dr. Dre's house is being built, and he's like, "Yeah, this is the studio," and it's just this massive fucking just construction project. So, yeah, no, that was a good one. I don't know. Didn't the Simpsons do? I want to say the Simpsons did something for the halftime show, and it was either Michael Jackson or James Brown being assassinated.
I don't remember. I remember like the Michael Jackson one where he like appeared in like all over the stadium.
Oh, really?
It was like they kept like they'd like be like up at the top, you know, and then like down at the bottom. And it was like all at once. It was like a bunch of Michael Jackson impersonators.
Oh. So Ruby, our oldest, just recently, like, I got school day listen to music. I guess I got like the after school thing, and she came on and she was like, "Alexa, play Bad by Michael Jackson." And I was like, "All right, okay, cool."
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
And then somehow it kind of came. Oh, Alexa, stop! I literally just started playing Bad.
Then Alexa, stop.
Somehow, like, I think Katie like made the comment like he's very controversial, and then we had to explain what controversial meant, and then she was like, "Why is he controversial?" And it was like, dude,
you couldn't spend the night at his house.
There's a documentary called Neverland that's gonna change everything about Michael Jackson that you think you know. So, yeah, but Bad's it's a banger.
Yeah,
I will say, I don't know if it's because he died or like early before all this really, really came out, that he's still kind of untouched from. Well,
yeah, he's not
joking.
He's not canceled. He's like all over the radio still, but you're not going to see like a Michael Jackson like fucking commercial at the Super Bowl.
I mean, he was fun to make fun of while he was alive too. You know, like that was the other thing. Like people are like, "You're canceled today," but back then it'd be like, "This is like 10 jokes we're gonna make about this dude," and he'll come out with a new album and blow you the fuck away. And so, like, I don't know, like the dude is a tremendous artist, and
but not everything was good. I mean, it's the same with any artist. Like, not everything was good.
No,
like, if you listen to like probably his best of, you're like, yeah, there's like 5 good songs, and the rest of them were like, whatevs. Like, I don't know. I remember watching Moonwalker as a kid. Did you guys ever see that one?
Yes.
Yeah, I just played the video game.
Fucking crazy. It was like good video game though. Smooth Criminal. Everyone
so hard.
That shit was nuts. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how we got on a Michael Jackson tangent, but
we showed Henry Thriller for Halloween.
Oh, do you like it?
Yeah, up until he like turned into like we totally forgot about the beginning where he's like, Gah! It's like Henry was not cool around cats for a while.
I'm not like other guys. We know.
Yeah. You're telling us something, Michael. You're telling us.
Is that a cry for help? No.
That Vincent Price's voice at the end of Thriller used to scare the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And my son, when we played Thriller, he'd like listen to the whole song and then cut it off at then. I'm like, dude, you're like same thing, like that's terrifying to me.
Yeah, I think I have like the Thriller re-release on vinyl somewhere. I got it. Somebody gave it to me for something, but that video is badass. Like Smooth Criminal. I remember when Black or White came out. That was like an event.
Yeah,
like Scream, whatever. Right. Like that was like. I remember like Barbara Walters was doing like an interview with him on. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
Nice.
There you go.
Original.
Wait, hold on. Hold it up one more time. One more time. Hold it up. There we go.
Son of a
like Barbara Walters would, or like Oprah would interview them, and then it'd be like, and now world premiere, like Black or White. Like I remember watching those things. That was crazy.
Yeah. Like what was there was like that part where he like beats up the car and like turns into a panther.
Oh yeah.
And they had to like, pull it out. Like it was too violent for 1989 or whatever the time it came out.
But it had like swastikas on it, and he was like smashing the swastikas and stuff.
Oh, really?
Like yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just like you're being destructive, Michael. You know.
I remember because it had like swastikas. I think because they showed a swastika and he smashed it. That's why it was like you can't show a swastika on TV yet. But Bill Clinton was.
Or you can't show a swastika being broken on TV yet.
That's true. You know what? Somebody brought. I heard this today, man. Like when that came out. When did Black or White come out? Let's take a guess. 19.
I'm gonna say 91.
Yeah.
Black or White. Michael Jackson. It came out. I'm gonna say 90. I don't know. Shit. When did it come out?
Oh, maybe 93.
That was November, like face changes, right, in the video.
Yeah,
November 11th, 1991.
Ooh.
So who was president?
November 11th.
So like that was like Bush 1 was president, right?
That was Bush, yeah.
But at the same time, like Hooters was like becoming a thing too, probably.
Well, and no, Hillary Clinton didn't start doing her stuff until Bill was in office, like where she was pushing for the labels on CDs and video
that was Tipper Gore. That was
Gore, dude.
Yeah, that son of a.
Well,
bitch.
Hillary jumped on that bandwagon too.
They all
it was like a whole conservative mother thing or whatever, you know, like
the parent, concerned parents or PMRC.
Yeah,
the PMRC can stuff on this. That's a NoFX thing. But yeah, that was like the weird 90s, right? Where it was like, oh, Michael Jackson can't show a swastika on TV, but we can show like NYPD Blue. And then there was like, but then
when did Cops start?
Dude, Cops was 89. You know how I know that? Because I was watching a lot of Cops episodes. That show is fucking crazy. How that show got made is I'll never understand.
I saw him filming in Stockton.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was driving down like El Dorado, and like there's all these police cars, and then like a bunch of cameras with them, and I was like, this was like probably like 2000 something. I was like, it's Cops, and then I never caught the episode, but
if you just Google or YouTube like Cop Stockton or Cop, I do a lot of like Cop Sacramento, and there's a bunch of episodes here in Sacramento. There's one in Stockton where they catch a dude in a tree. He like climbed a tree, and then they just stick a dog on him, and he like gets ripped out of the tree. And say, I thought it'd be funny to do like a Mystery Science Theater type podcast about cops, but then after watching a few episodes, I'm just kind of like, this would just be depressing after a while, and it would just get really fucking weird.
So our friend Paul,
it made me really sad. Like I remember talking to my mom, like, how can because I'm like, I kind of was like, how do they know this guy did all this, you know? And my mom's like, well, you know, they wouldn't put it on TV if they didn't know. And then like I don't know, like they did anyways. It was just
like, Josh, go to bed. Stop questioning big cabled.
No, our friend Paul, Steve, after he got out of prison and he was staying in jail.
Wait, Paul?
I don't want to use last names. Paul. Paul.
Oh.
But yeah, he was staying with me and we were talking about it, and he's like, yeah, and like all they do is watch Cops and yell at how they're doing it wrong. And then I turned to one of them and I was like, why the fuck are you in here then?
Yeah. You're doing it wrong. Hey Josh, did you want to talk about
side jobs?
Your jizz tree or your moonlighting into the jizz industry?
We could talk about both, I guess. I don't mind. So like So I guess it was like 2003, maybe. I don't know. Like pornography wasn't as like ubiquitous as it is now. And so like I was working in the film industry on like independent movies and things like that. And like someone's like, "Hey, you want to interview for this editing position?" And I was like, "Sure." Right? Like I'll do anything for a job at this point, because I was like,
anything.
Freelancing.
It's funny you say that.
Well, like, I mean, like, I worked on like.
Do you gag when you brush your teeth?
Well, like, so, like, I worked on like various movies and like different like commercials or TV shows and things like that. It was all freelance, and so this was like, hey, you could have like a full-time job, and so like come on down. And I literally was like, kind of like not sure what the editing would be. So I went to this place, and it was like the kink.com, which is like,
oh yeah, the Armory.
Well, it was before it was at the Armory. Like they had an office in the Soma. And so like on like Howard Street or something like that. Or
are they still at the Armory, or didn't they have to move out?
I don't see how you could be a profitable porn company of this size in this day and age, where everyone has fans, or there's like, I don't know.
And you have real estate in San Francisco.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, so like I get there, and like, I'm like a year out of college.
It's a brewery now. It's just a gastropub. Like, smells weird in here. The hops.
Like it's all been power washed. Like, so like I go to this interview, and like it wasn't even like, "Hey, how you doing?" It was like, "Tomcat knows you." And I'm like, "Who?" Like, and they're like, "This person," I can't say their name because everyone's got like a fake porno name, because they're all like aspiring filmmakers, but they're trying to make money and by doing this. And so you'd be like, "Oh, that's that guy, from like this editor or this PA or this, camera operator." Mm-hmm. And so then you found out like, okay, like they recommended you to work here, and do you want like this editing position? And I was like, kind of like, sure, so like I had to hop on the computer and like edit like this like woman who was like gagged and bound, and like it was crazy, dude. And I was like super sweaty, right? Like I rode my bike there, and it was like, and like, so I had got there, like I'm already sweating from that. But then like, this is like the first time I think I was like nervous sweating too. And I'm like dripping, right? And like, I remember I'm like kind of like futzing with the controls, and like, I'm thinking like, what creative choice do I make here? While I'm like watching this woman be violent.
And cut.
Well, right. It was all by like choice.
Wipe the hard drive. Oh.
So
what hit it?
So I'm like I remember at one point like sweat drips off my head onto the keyboard, and I'm like, and the dude's like, they're all super nice. Like it wasn't like it wasn't like some dude with like gold chains or something, or like hair. They were like smacking people. It was like it looked like one of the nicest places I've ever interviewed for. Wow. And so I was like just hella nervous, and he's like, "Do you want a towel?" And at first I was like, "Yeah," and then I was like, "No, I don't want. Definitely not."
No, you know what? Yeah,
I'm good. Finish this out. And I think at some point the dude kind of realized how uncomfortable about the whole thing I was, and he was like, "That's great, all right." And then they gave me like a tour of the building, and I got to see like the dungeon, and like they had this room that they had this like room that was like behind a cage, like where you keep the important stuff that you're like, like, and I was thinking like cameras and lights, and it was all like straight like strap-ons and dildos and like wrist cuffs. It was like all the stuff to make porno. Like
that's crazy.
It was wild, man. Like, and they're like, then they like took me to this room they're like super proud of. It was like this dungeon, and like all the walls were like castle walls, like this, they're constructed with bricks, and they're like, "Yeah, we bought this from Disney," like all this. all these like set used to be at like Disney World or something. And then you like we went up to the roof. There's like a hot tub there, and like it was super nice. Like, yeah, and I mean, then so I think about it, I'm like they like offered like health benefits, and like my friend who recommended me was like she ended up working there and for a long time until we lost touch. But like she like met her wife there. They like would like fly to Paris for like the weekend. Like they were making good money doing this. And like I was, like 22 or something. So I like still had like a compunction or some idea that this was like I can't stain my record or whatever. So they offered like an internship, and I was like, nah, I got to turn it down. And like the next day, like the Catholic school called me to coach water polo, and I was like, okay, I'll go this direction, right? Yeah. So like
you literally had like an angel and a demon.
Yes, man. And like when I think about the choice, I'm like, I could have had like way more money now, or like I don't know, it could have like followed my film dream in a different direction, or who knows, like. But then
you'd have Fox kink shaming you the whole time.
I support non-kink shaming.
Oh, well.
But like, I mean,
I point out kink shaming. That's my kink.
Like, I thought it was pretty cool to get the experience without like associating my name with it, or I don't really know. Who knows what would happen?
So did you have have you created a pseudo like
what was
pseudo
your
name? Your editor name?
I never thought of it, but it would be.
Or by the rules, technically, my porn name is Benjamin Turner.
Oh yeah, you used to.
Oh, the road you grew up on, Alexander.
You do the middle name and road I grew up on.
I thought it was your first pet,
Alexander Red.
And then it'd be Zonker Turner.
Joseph Capel. I thought it was your first pet though. Like your first.
I don't know.
Well, mine would have been Susie Capel then, and that's confusing. So, yeah, I remember one time being in San Francisco with our late great friend Kyle, and we looked up, and he was like, "That's the kink building over there," and it was like, "Whoa!" It just looked ominous.
Yeah. Well, the armory.
Yeah, it's a gigantic brick building where you're just like, why is all the bricks like dark red? That's weird.
Yeah, but they invited me to like a party, like an after work party, and I was like, yeah, I'll go, thinking like this thing's gonna be crazy, you know. And it was just every normal person, like everyone was super nice. Like I was like,
does anybody have any food allergies? I'm gonna pick up some apps.
No, it was like I thought it'd be like boogie nights, like wait till you see this, and like just nice people that were like, like this is where the money's at when you work in film, and like you can work all the side jobs you want, but this is a regular gig.
Yeah, I don't think it pays as much as everyone thinks it probably does though nowadays.
No, probably not.
You have to create your own brand. I actually just listened to a podcast with a porn star on it, Two Bears, One Cave, and they had an adult actress on there, and it was really weird. Like, I don't know. To each their own, right? Like, I'm not going to knock somebody for what they do unless they're like cartel members or something, or like trafficking children. But like, I don't know. It was different. It was interesting hearing somebody's side of it where they're like, yeah, I charge this much for that. I charge this much. And if you want to spend a weekend with me, it's $50,000. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, like that's insane. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, again, it just wasn't the world for me. I just didn't. And like when I was working at that Catholic school, like the principal like called me into the office and like asked me specifically about that. And I remember having like an awkward conversation. I'm like, no, like I've been asked to or whatever, but never.
Wait, they knew about your interview?
I don't know. I don't know how they found out, or if it was like a rumor or something.
Maybe as you're walking out, he was walking in.
Oh, right. It's like toweling himself off. It's like, good old.
Like, that guy looks familiar.
Yeah, right.
He's like, motherfucker. Yeah, I think like that. I don't know, man. I feel like if you were to get into that at 22, how desensitized you'd be by now.
Right.
Like shit you see online is nothing compared to what you probably would have seen like in person there, like when the cameras weren't rolling. Like,
oh, right. I mean, or like the stuff that doesn't get filmed, you know,
Yeah.
or like you're like, we're focusing on this part of the body, and then they're like, someone lets out a fart or something, and you're like, oh, I just smell that, or you know, like I can see it on my computer,
Yeah.
but like now I know the smells and sounds, and like, yeah.
well, my thing, man, I don't know. I think there'd be a lot of like, as like a dad of like daughters, just kind of like that whole like, hey, how you doing? Like, I'm okay. You know, like,
Yeah.
you know, like the
Slightly
dude
broken, but okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
and the other thing is like there's like dudes in their 50s and 60s that have been like working in film, like chasing their dreams forever or whatever. And here they are, like still like, you know, slinging dildos and, you know, doing whatever you had to do. And you're like, that's like what happened to the screenplay you wrote when you were 20, dude? You know, or like it's like at some point, yeah. And it's like now that I got kids, I'm totally glad that I'm not like, look at dad's past, you know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's just a conversation I don't have to have, or, you know, so
yeah. Or you can be like, hey, I chose this path or this path. Like,
right. I went with the Catholic school, which, you know, they got their own scandals. But
dude, that's the definition of scandal. Next to
Right.
like a politician. Yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, I think it would be like, I don't know. I've only been to like a strip club like maybe 3 times in my life, and it's always kind of been like, yeah, this is awkwardly like kind of cool and awesome and weird all at the same time. But like it's still just like a weird thing.
yeah, the strip clubs gross me out. Like it's I don't know. It didn't feel like that. Like I've been to a strip club once and then I walked out within a couple minutes because like, this is so gross.
Yeah, the ones
This felt more like, oh, go for it.
I was gonna say like I've been to them in Portland mainly because it's like you will literally walk into a bar, any bar. Well, this was like 15 years ago, and it would just be like, hey, we're going to Ollie's or whatever, like whatever bar you want to throw out, and you just go like, coming to the stage is Natasha, and you're like, oh, okay, but you don't have like it's not like a strip club. It's a dive bar with a stage where a girl's like just dancing on it. It's very different there.
Yeah. Like I think the whole exploitation factor, like where it's like a bunch of dudes that are like purposely going to be horny and like I went like for some guy's bachelor party and this guy I didn't know who was also there, like in the bachelor party was like screaming at the women and stuff. And I was like, dude, that's like I would just hate like even if I was performing with my clothes on, like I wouldn't want someone talking to me that way, And I like
Gosh,
someone gave
we said we wouldn't talk about this.
Right. Matt was gyrating his hips and crying.
He's crying. He had his California flag, California flag Speedo on. Yeah. Well,
I also wonder though if it's wow.
Since we're talking about bodies. No, that's fine. What were you gonna say, Fox?
No, I had a EMT teacher that talked about like when he was an EMT, he'd show up to these like gruesome scenes and everything, and it was fine because he was like prepared for it. And then he transferred to the sheriff's department and became a sheriff. And he said the first accident he rolled up on, and it wasn't even that bad of an accident as he had dealt with as an EMT. He, as soon as he saw blood, he started throwing up. And it was just that mindset that he wasn't like, as a sheriff, he's like, I wasn't prepared like as an EMT. So I wonder if those people editing films like kind of like somehow separate it from their personal life, or if it just, like you said, Steve, do you become desensitized to it? Or
bro, we were talking about strip clubs and you started talking about people dying.
Yep.
I think it was like that's what it seemed like the money compensated you for that. Like the job was well paid, so it was like it's kind of like I might be willing to sacrifice like this sensitivity for a bunch of money, but like now it's like everyone and their mother's doing like their own homemade porno and make like for $3 I'll show you my cooch.
OnlyFans.
Like, yeah, like, and then you're like, that's it. That's all you're asking for. That's insane. Like,
it's pretty crazy how cheap OnlyFans can be too.
Yeah,
not that I know from what I've heard.
Did you hear that? I saw this lady, like the #1 lady, like sells her farts or something.
Oh yeah,
like jars. And I was like, Jen, we got to get on that. Like, you got to fart in jars instead of go to work. You know, like
I gotta start farting in jars.
I'll do the farting. You do the posing. Like,
I'll start farting in jars instead of like into the cushions.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just a weird, like somehow Hooters is being shut down now because nobody's into boobs, but like OnlyFans is insanely popular, and like I can go on. I don't know like what other apps are out there, but like you can probably go on like Snapchat and just see some chicks, you know, butthole.
Yeah.
For free. Good night. I love you. Katie just walked by. We're just talking about society and like
and OnlyFans.
And OnlyFans. It's a ripple effect. Yeah. I don't know. But so did the kink studio smell like those certain trees that you were talking about?
No, it smelled great. But yeah, those trees, I think that's the thing we need to think about as a society is like it's every springtime.
Are they kumquat trees?
What? They're I think Bradford pear is one of them.
They're Bradford pear, but they don't produce it. They're fruitless Bradford pears.
Yeah. And apparently they
makes me even more annoying.
They're cheap to plant, and like the Target parking lot closest to us just is blooming right now in full bloom, and it smells like a teenage locker room or something. It's like full on jizz in the parking lot.
What kind of teenage locker rooms have you been in?
I don't know. Ones where teenage boys are jacking off all over the place. That's what
the studio at kink.com's locker room. Yeah, we had one. I think we had one like directly next to our house when we moved in, and they just stink, dude. They're gross.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, it smells like cum. And then you're like, okay.
Well, when I was in high school, they had there wasn't those Bradford pears because they didn't bloom, and it would smell this. They had like seed pods or something. And it was right by the boys' locker room. And so it was like you'd walk out and you're like, oh my God, what is that? And it was like for 4 years, you'd walk by these trees and it just smelled like someone, came in their pants or something.
a familiar stuff.
Right. And they didn't
One
have
kid would be, it's not
side.
me, run off holding his crotch.
Yeah.
Right. They didn't put them on the girls' side of the locker of the gym. It was only on the boys. So it was kind of like is that the trees or like
it was the cover to smell.
Scratching their pants a bunch.
Yeah. I spilled soda. Yeah, I don't know. Those trees are the worst though. And that's funny when I seen that thing on Reddit. I didn't watch the video that she posted about it, but everybody was just like, why the fuck are these trees? Like, why do they smell? Like, can we do anything better than this?
Well, I mean, like, I'm just imagining some urban planners like, the best tree is the Bradford pear, and like not knowing what it's like.
Or just giggling as he like the Bradford pear.
Right. Like,
yeah,
just
like if I was gonna design a place
by the boys' locker room,
right.
Like, let's plant thousands of these trees in this new subdivision, and then watch property values fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he just signed off on it. He signed off on it.
We got another one.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. No,
I actually hope there's a guy out there that like you said, Johnny Jism Tree.
Mike Bradford.
I hope when he planned him, he went like that.
He's like,
yeah, no,
no, sorry.
Oh,
what?
No, they're great. Like when you're around a bunch of them, you're like, I do not like the smell of bleach. Like bleach automatically makes me gag, and that's what they remind me of. Nope.
Yeah, no, jizz to me. They smell like jizz to me.
Cool.
Bleach.
Bleach. He wanted to be a bleach.
So speaking of gym,
yes,
and PE, having come trees outside of the PE class, you were saying, Steve, could you keep up with a high school PE class?
Oh yeah. I forgot that I put that on there, and then I saw that Josh put that link, which I think I saw on Reddit recently too.
Yeah, it's gone around Reddit a couple times.
Yeah, I think it was only I follow like the Sacramento Reddit thing. Looking back, like because it was like jumping jacks, like stretching, burpees would fuck me up. I couldn't hang with burpees. I couldn't run a mile. I couldn't do a pull-up to save my life or my family's life. But I think everything else, like push-ups, sit-ups, I would be okay with.
Steve's choice.
Yeah, my choice.
It's like pull-up or your children.
Yeah. What do you guys want to hear?
When I read that, I thought I could do my high school gym class, which was not at all rigorous. But like watching that video of those dudes in the 50s, like hell no.
Oh yeah, well they're like swinging through.
Right. My first thought was like those dudes are training for like military, and like some of them died in Korea or something.
It was the 50s, bro. That's all they did. They sock hopped. They trained for the military,
and they cruised.
They built hot rods. They cruised, and they died in an unjust war.
Right.
And they hit jukebox machines.
Yeah, I couldn't run a mile.
I could do a mile.
Yeah, I could do it.
I'm sure.
My high school gym, it was like you have 20 minutes to run the mile. Yeah. And what? Like you could walk that crap, and people would still not beat it.
If you gave me 20 minutes, I could like probably limp through it. But yeah, I don't know. My cardio kind of sucks. But yeah, I think burpees and the mile would fuck me up more than anything. I could, depending on how I could do a pull up. If I could do a pull up front, I might be able to pull off. I might be able to rip off like 3, but I couldn't do them like traditionally. Plus, I'd be worried about being pantsed while I just did pull ups.
Tic tac harder.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you guys think you could? Jumping jacks.
Well,
like stretching is.
I haven't watched the video, but I could say like our high school gym. I could probably misspell my name again, and so I don't know if you know that story, Josh. That's how Steve and I met.
Fox. It was freshman year, first day, and he goes, "You had a right on my thigh." There's some reason you had a right next. Like you couldn't just do it yourself. I guess that was maybe like their social thing of like, let these fucking morons like get to know each other.
right on their thighs.
Yeah, so like write the person next to you's name, last name, and
first initial
on their gym shorts. So he was like, Foxum. And I was like, I said, Voxum? And he's like, no, Foxum. I was like, Voxum? And he goes, no, Foxum. I'm like, I gave up.
FOXM.
.M. I'm like, oh, Fox M. Yeah.
It sounded just like the perfect impersonation.
Yeah, Buxom.
Buxom.
I thought PE was like the weirdest class in high school. They had like weird rituals and things that were like they didn't call them jumping jacks. They called them side straddle hops. And like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, they're not. They beat it into you like on the first day. They're not called jumping jacks. And then like that was the only class they made you salute the flag in, which is fine. I don't have anything against the flag salute, but like being in like rows of teenagers and you're all saluting the flag, like this feels a little
in
weird.
One uniform. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like shorts. I for some reason my parents got me like Daisy Dukes. So like I had the shortest shorts in like the class, and all these kids had like shorts down to their knees, and mine were like at the top of my thighs. And I was just like this
80s runner shorts.
Yeah, no, they weren't. You got them at that. They would get them at like that weird sporting goods store that was like by the warehouse.
Oh yeah,
and, like they had like Lodi High stuff and Tokay High stuff, and it was like shorts that were 6 inches deep or whatever.
Lodi Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
And Steve would always piss off our whole PE class because we'd have to do the Lodi spell out during jumping jacks, where it was like L-O-D-I, like L-O-D-I, L-O, and like all this. And at the very end, you all shout Lodi.
I yelled Tokay.
That's another weird ritual, right? Like, I don't remember.
The coaches would get so pissed. It was brilliant.
Super weird though. Like when it became like co-ed PE, like that shit was nuts. I was thinking about the other day. We're like, all right, we're gonna do swim, and then you just have like insanely hot chicks, and you're like sophomore, junior year of high school, and you're like, I can't function right now. I'm like, I'm a Bengal tiger right now that is controlling everything in my body right now, not to like.
I am a cum tree outside of
it. Exactly, man. That explains the smell.
I'm a fruitless Bradford pear tree. That shit was wild, man. Like.
I think it was crazy. Did you ever go senior and junior year to Bomber Ball? Like where they would just let the seniors come in and pound the freshmen.
Like half flat volleyball.
We would skip we would go in like, hey, second period, just go into PE. They're playing Bomber Ball today. And it would be like all the seniors. It was like ditching a period
but then they would also
freshmen.
They would also throw like the balls at the teachers too.
Yeah,
it was the Wild West, man. I remember I was telling somebody this recently. We're like, our friend Rusty, his dad he was the wrestling coach, but he was also like the econ teacher. So he taught econ, and then he like I was in his econ class and I had a D, and he was like, with that grade, what can you ever be with your life? And I was like, well, I could be a wrestling coach. And he flipped the desk over while I was in it, like full blown, like flipped it. I'm like, dude, you can't do that now.
No. As a teacher, like some of my favorite colleagues were the PE teachers because sometimes I'd have to sub just like an extra period, and they're like super nice. And they're like, you go behind that office wall or whatever, and they're all just chill dudes. Then like the second they walk out, they're like, all right, motherfuckers, or whatever.
Born to kill.
They took the shit so seriously where it's like if he doesn't wear his uniform for 3 days in a row, like he's gonna fail at life. And they all had these like grandiose ideas of like, societal collapse through the lens of like PE. Like, who fucking cares? Like, you're doing 20 jumping jacks and walking a 20-minute mile. Like, this isn't preparing anyone for shit.
These are fundamentals. I don't know. Like a daily PE class in life probably wouldn't hurt. I mean, I don't know.
I think it's like the idea is cool. Like, let's set a foundation for fitness, but I mean, you know,
It's
these
always
kids.
the first thing to get cut. It's like music and PE get cut from schools.
But then it's, I mean, they're like, let's walk a mile and then go stuff your face with hot Cheetos at lunch or whatever. You're like,
yeah, bro.
Yeah, it's not really comprehensive, you know. Or the other thing I thought was weird was like health wasn't taught at PE. You know, like why they got a separate health class when it's like you're actually doing healthy stuff there. Like it should be like sit down for a semester and this is where you learn about, you know, what STDs or whatever.
As I put a taquito in my mouth.
Yeah.
And beers. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel pretty confident if the three of us were dropped into a high school PE class right now, we could probably dominate it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably end up hurting myself, but yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sitting on a heating pad right now. I'm literally sitting on it because my fucking sciatica, it's all fucked up. Yeah, I don't know.
There's the thing I think is interesting though is like there are like kids who are like PE's their jam, you know, and they're like,
yeah,
I love this physical activity and I'm gonna run the mile in 7 minutes, you know, or whatever a fast mile time is, and you're kind of like, like it's like the thing with Matt was saying about prom is like, okay, I see you can shine here, even though like you're a complete F up in my class, you know, like you cannot do the alphabet at 19, but you can run really fast, and you know, it's like that must feel good, you know. I don't know, like showing up and doing bomber ball and like pegging some freshmen, you know, like probably is like you're like you're like I don't know if it'll amount to much after that, and like you probably look back and you're like, remember when we threw those red rubber balls at those kids? That was amazing.
That stopped me from shooting up a school.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Ullman. I guess kind of transit. I kind of thought about this today. And we were talking about reality shows because we were talking about like Bachelor and all that shit in the group text. If there was to be a dude stew show, a la Real World, where would we live, and who would crack first?
True.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too. First of all, he gets sick. He gets sick right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like if it was like
he already punched me in the back of the head once for pissing in his sink. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought about it today. I was like, oh, because we were talking about the Bachelorette, and I was like, those are such dumb shows. But then I was like, but if you were on it with like some friends, it'd be fun. Or if they had a show like that and you incorporated, like there was a show called Joe Schmo, I think, where everybody was in on it except for one guy. So if you had a show where you had like 20 contestants and like the four of us knew that it was a game and we could kind of manipulate it somehow. I don't know. It was just a thought. I think it would be like for our format, be a little Big Brother-esque, like just locked in a housing unit and then competitions thrown at us. And then like kind of, I don't know what the eviction policy would be though, because I don't think it would work like voting out, obviously, with 4 people.
No, but it'd be the 4 of us and like 10 other people.
Oh, I see.
That were not.
I mean, I like the format of like the Real World where like it wasn't a competition, but it like they had like crappy jobs or something. Like we're making yogurt or something.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking too. Like all of the Real World, where it was like, hey, we're gonna work at I don't know, somewhere where we would all like, I don't know, we would all work at like where Fuddrucker.
Do you remember? There was like there was like one season where like this guy was like living there, but then he like had like 2 jobs, so like he was like basically getting free rent, and like you could tell he was like, I'm moving on after this show to just live a life or whatever. He then like I think it was like name was David, and he was Then he was on the Chappelle show. Like Chappelle brought him on because he had he sang.
Oh, yeah, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, but that dude was like never around, and it's because he just had a different job, and he's like,
he was like, yeah, I just picked up this fucking place where I can live for free.
Yeah, I mean that's like the best thing is like I'm not gonna get into the drama with the roommates. I'm gonna just go make money and bank it while rent costs nothing.
I'm not gonna fall into Puck's games.
Right.
Yeah. Puck isn't gonna dictate what I do. But no, yeah, I could definitely see us working at like a Chipotle or some weird place like that, and then like the confessionals. Be like, it's fun, like it's cool, but like fucking Fox is always like working out to Top Gun soundtrack. Not even the soundtrack, it's like the score. It's really weird. Like I'm trying to sleep and like
I worked.
I gotta say, guys, if you never heard about it, but the Top Gun score is pretty fucking awesome. You should play it all the time. Just saying.
Like, yeah, dude. Like, I'm trying to sleep. Like Josh is always like pontificating about like crazy shit. Like Steve is always sleeping and complaining about stuff. Drew's always sick. But what were we gonna say, Josh? You worked on that. Oh, is it Eliminate you mentioned?
Yeah, I remember Eliminate. It'd be like four same gendered going on a date with one opposite gendered person. And so like I was like a PA, and my job was like literally pick the person up from somewhere in the Bay Area and then take him to the site, and then like where we're going to where they're shooting, and the date would be like all in one day. It'd be like a 12-hour shoot. And so, then they'd like cut it and like do costume changes and like do all this stuff. And my job was just to drive the babysit the one person out of the four. And like,
holy shit,
we got a flat rate for the whole day. So I was like, please fucking lose on the first round. Please I can go home early. Right. And the whole like week or whatever, 2 weeks I was doing it, like my person always like was like in the final round, and you'd be like out at some like stupid club like in that you didn't even know about when you lived in San Francisco, because it was like a place people didn't like, someplace like we went to some club like out in like
Butter.
Like warehouse district. Yeah. But it'd be like Tuesday night, like no one's there, and it would be like 7 people there, like family and friends of the Eliminate crowd, and your job was like you get these people like hammered. You just like drinks are free. You want another gin and tonic, and then they'd turn into like fucking animals, and then they'd interview them, and they're like like when the camera was rolling, you'd just be standing off to the side, and then they'd be like, all right, cut. You grab your person and you like take them off because they don't want any interaction off camera. So they get them all like fucking fired up. And then they like immediately do these testimonials. And they're like, oh, so when Brenda called you a bitch, what did you feel about that? And they're like, I fucking hate her. I'm going to kill her. And like, that's perfect. We love it. But just say it, phrase it as if you're saying it from your own voice. So then they're like, when Brenda called me a bitch, like I like fucking wanted to kill her. And like, it was just like you had like 3 producers instigating the shit all the time. It was, and they'd be like, all right, they're hot. Let's get them back in. And then they'd like, let's go to the next place. And like, by the end of the night, you had this like drunk person that's like, talking shit. And then the best part would be like, because my people always made it to the end. They like thought they're going to hook up and like it's getting hot and heavy, and they're like making out on the dance floor next to like their uncle or something who's also there. And then they like split them up, and they'd be like, liability, we can't, you got to go home. So I'd have like drive like some dude out to like Los Gatos or something, and be like, man, I thought I was gonna score. And you're like, yeah, I don't get her number, like see ya, like, it was like the most disingenuous. Like I was like, it's not reality at all. Like it's just a bunch of like manipulating drunk college kids to hook up or pretend to.
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of been like, it's always had like that professional wrestling aspect, but then when you hear it like broken down like that, that's pretty wild. Where it's like they're just constantly poking the bear,
yeah,
and being like, I'm out.
like there was this one, like we were at this club. It was like a giant, like 2-level, like, you know, like club you see like on music videos or something. It was like a warehouse. And they're like,
was it butter by chance?
no. It's just like, I don't even know the name of it, but like,
did they have Jello shots?
Did they have to have $1 Jello shots by chance?
It wasn't even like open. Like it was just like, we're gonna have some beers or whatever. And so
I gotta pee.
in order to make it look like there was a crowd, they like shoved us all into like a corner, like between two walls. And like I'm in the back and we're like drinking and talking, like pretending to dance. And it like the place
doing
is
your
like,
best Charlie Brown chance.
yeah, it's like 10,000 square foot warehouse or something, and it's like empty.
Gosh.
And there's like 4 of us like dancing in the back, pretending like we're raving on a Saturday night. It was like, I can't, like, this is all just such a fake load of shit. I mean, it's not like anyone's like meeting their true love on a limo-date, but
yeah,
just
I'm curious if anyone actually what was the outcome of Eliminates. How many seasons did that thing go? It didn't last long, did it?
I don't know, but like I tried to look up for like the San Francisco episodes because I was in like a significant portion of them, like just in the background, like eating at a table, like trying to make it look like I'm having a good time, and it was so dumb. Like
just
this
one, like this, like
yeah, like this one dude that
it went 6 seasons.
Yeah, this dude was a chiropractor, I remember, and like. He was kind of like I kind of told him, I was like, look, man, like you got to drink, you know, like they want you to do this. And he's like, you know, I'm not really feeling it. Like, I don't really like this person. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, the thing is, I got to drive you home. And he's like, really? You do? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I don't want to do that to you. I'm like, yeah, me neither. You know? And I was like, the only thing you could really do is not drink. And maybe he's like, can I get my friends to pick me up? And I was like, I don't talk to the producer. And like, the dude was so cool. He's like, yeah, I'm not feeling it. I don't like this person. Is it cool if like I just call my friends and like
I
finish out the show?
I'm in recovery.
Right. Like
can't drink.
It was great though. Like I was like, what a nice guy. Like I didn't like because he lived like in San Jose or something. And I was like, I'm gonna have to drive like 2 hours to get this guy home. And he just stayed sober. And had his buddies pick him up.
So it looks like a bunch of them are on YouTube.
I just looked at that, Steve. Eliminate reactions like 2020, 21.
Yeah, but they're like date is all in capital letters.
Yeah.
This was like 2003, maybe 2004.
Yeah, this ain't my first rodeo.
I remember there was this one prick. His name was Josh too. And I was like, he was so fucking cocky, dude. Like I had to, they did his like intro and he's like, Josh is a jock from Arizona. And he's like throwing a football and I'm off camera. He's throwing the football to me.
Catching
it. And like, he's like, you know, he does like this. Like, he's like, are you ready? You think you can catch it? I'm like, fuck you. I can catch a football, dude. Like, and I just remember
water polo.
Bro, I was like, I hope this fucking douche loses or
he tears his tater cuff.
Yeah, they were always going to that hotel that's in the Tenderloin. That's like
the Phoenix.
I think so. It's got like the pool outside.
Yeah,
like,
Phoenix is cool.
Looking. Yeah, it's like I don't know.
Everyone's always like, it's the rock and roll hotel, and I stayed there once. I'm like, it's like whatever. Like
it's just not the Tenderloin. You know, it's like
Nirvana stayed there. The Nirvana stayed there, so that's why it's like
oh really
popular. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I always thought that like Blind Date was kind of like the best of all those dating shows. Yeah, I don't know if you guys watched that one.
I liked
the bubbles.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Honestly, on all those trashy reality shows, the Bachelor, Love Island, or whatever. It's like the season between the Bachelors. It's where they bring like bachelors and bachelorettes that didn't make it together, and it's just like a fucking trash can fire.
I just makes me want to like raise strong kids to be like, you don't need any
That
of this
too.
shit.
Yeah, no,
Like, I
agree.
Please do not like reduce yourself to like begging for a rose or whatever the fuck they do. You know?
Yeah,
yeah. It's just like we said today. Like that chick Claire from The Bachelor, like used to live across the street from us. Like grew up, but she'd like really be there, and then like whenever she like showed up, Katie'd be like texting like the lady next door and be like, Claire's there. And she'd like go in, come out. Like we never like really even saw her. Like I think there was maybe a couple.
Come out and go, hey Claire Bear.
Yeah. Hey Claire Bear. Let me see them titties. No. But I mean I saw her like a couple times, but it was never like, oh, well, crazy. You know, like I don't care.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But
they want that though. They want you to like gush all over them and be like, like give me a rose or you know whatever. Yeah,
give me your eye rose.
Yeah. Right. We're getting kind of long in the tooth, but I don't know if you want to segue into that weird ass fucking video that you sent last night, Fox.
Yes, I do.
That shit was weird. It's not something that was on Josh's former employer's website.
Dick Tracy zooms in.
27 minutes was a lot to like get through that thing, dude.
It was yeah, and I applaud you for skipping through it. Like it was just nuts. So I actually heard about that through another podcast I listened to, and it was just like, what the fuck is this? And who asked for this? Like, so essentially it's Dick Tracy zooming into a call, who's played by Warren Beatty. And like, apparently he did an interview 12 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't know.
12 years prior with Winter Malton.
Yeah. But he's playing his age, like as if Dick Tracy's still alive since 1930.
Yeah.
So he's like 100.
Yeah.
And he was like critiquing his movie, right? Like he's critiquing.
It was super weird.
Warren Beatty's movie and the other two Dick Tracy movies. Like,
did you? So like reading the comments, everyone's like, "This is what we've been waiting for." The comments were wild. It was just like, apparently Warren Beatty owns the rights to Dick Tracy.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
Which is crazy.
So he bought the rights.
Sylvester Stallone for Rocky.
So Warren Beatty bought the rights like in the 80s, and it just the project didn't get off the ground until the 90s. And apparently there's like copyright laws or whatever for him to own the rights. Like he still has to like create something.
Oh,
and I
really?
think this is so this is him retaining the rights.
Wow.
I was like, I did that but that makes sense. Yeah.
But why? But like you're 85.
Why not just make like a documentary on the making of it, or like re-release like a behind the scenes trailer or something like that, or
make it cool where it's like him being Dick Tracy. Like,
I tried to give
going to the polo club with.
I tried to give it like the most generous interpretation, and I was like, oh, you know, maybe he just loves the character.
Tell me how you did that.
Well, I was like, he's old, you know, like he's pushing 80. Like there's probably some like residual money you get from like Dick Tracy or whatever. And then I found out he like owned the character. So, you know, I mean, like it's kind of like I'd love to make another movie, but I'm super old, or you know, I'm too tired to really
I physically can't.
You know,
like
yeah. It's like a dinner party character or something, and I don't know. It was weird though. Like
it was honestly, it'd be like you coming home and you're like grandfather, like, ah, shit, he's wearing the hat again. Like, I'm back in the day when I used to be a gumshoe, and you know I'm a Mrs. Featherline would ask me to find her cats. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, no, like when we went to like your summer camp and you were doing like all those skits and stuff, Matt, like that was kind of what it reminded me of, where it's like, you get it and you love it. And like, this is like the thing you've done like summer after summer. And I don't. Like, I'm just brand new and I'm not at a camp surrounded by kids. I haven't been like deprived of stuff for a week, you know, like, so I was like it does remind me of like that grandpa feeling where you're like, yeah, this was cool when like TV was black and white, or you know, like this
when TV was on the radio.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like when the movie came out, it was crazy because it was right around like Ninja Turtles 1. Like it was fucking wild. And somebody
91.
Yeah, somebody even in the comments was like, hey, this was like the precursor to like Sin City as far as like visually how crazy it was. But I thought it was really weird when he started like critiquing the characters. He was like, "That's like a really good makeup job."
Yeah.
Like, what is this? I don't get this, man.
There was like one part where he like jumps through like up through a skylight, and he's like, "How did my hat even stay on?" I was like I kind of want to watch the movie again because like visually, like those colors were amazing. I was like, this is like some psychedelic like gangster movie. I was like, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, we should watch it. I think it was one of those.
It's a crazy movie.
It's all paintings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the old school Disney movies where they were all like painted frames and stuff like that. And
like Madonna's in Indiana Jones. Yeah, Madonna's in it. Al Pacino, actually, I was just double checking. He got a nod for supporting actor.
Oh, really?
For an Academy Award.
Remember we had the toy, the Al Pacino toy. It was like Blockhead or something. What was his name?
Flat Top?
Scarface.
No, he wasn't Flat Top.
Scarface.
I can't remember. Scarface, yeah.
That's what it was.
No, damn it. I did.
Yeah, I remember having like the toys because it was like Batman came out. Dick Tracy, like Ninja Turtles, like it was all in like that time period.
I love that kind of like feeling of like the build up to a movie over summer where you're like, I'm going to AM/PM this week to get the collector cup or whatever. Like you're just like so fucking jazzed. Like this movie's so good and it's not coming out for a month. You know, you're
I almost threw up, sorry.
I don't know. I miss that kind of like ridiculous marketing that it seems like they do with everything now. But like, I don't know. Like I was saying to Matt the other day, like I wish I went hard on like Lord of the Rings merch, like back in 2002, and get like an Aragorn cup or something. Like
I've never seen any of those movies. Like. Unless my kids get into unless my kids get into like Lord of the Rings or like what's the other one? Harry Potter. Like I'm not ever gonna watch them.
No, fuck Harry Potter. But like I've been like waking up early, like at 5 and like working out on the exercise bike and watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I wanna fucking so bad live in Middle Earth.
Yeah. I agree.
Like those movies are awesome.
In fact, I want to see Dick Tracy living in Middle Earth.
I want to see that. I want to see like one of those Lord of the Rings characters come back and critique Lord of the Rings in an AMC interview.
Elijah Wood meeting with Frodo Baggins.
Gollum
at the Polo Club. I gotta say, Josh, like I loved how you said you're like, did you watch the ending where they're just sitting next to each other at the Polo Club, like having a dialogue in silent?
No.
Oh, you didn't even watch that? I thought that's what
no,
you meant.
Like I literally like you know, in the video, he's like fast forwarding and he's like, like, oh, there's that, that's like what I did to your video. I was like, oh, this is like Inception or something where I'm just gonna skip ahead so I have some things to talk about.
It's confusing because in the middle, at the very beginning, he like fast forwards and he rewinds it.
Yeah.
Fast forwards and he rewinds it. And then like all of a sudden Leonard Maltin's there and you're just like, well, this is fucking nuts. And that's when I just started reading the comments.
Yeah, no, and it's like the fact that it's the title is Dick Tracy zooms in, but then it's a conversation between Ben Mankiewicz and Leonard Maltin, like in a office, and then they zoom in, and they're together, but on the screen they have separate screens.
Yeah.
It's just like an editorial, like, what the fuck? Who's directing this? What?
The only people I know that watch AMC are my parents, you know, like, and so I was surprised you sent that because I was like, I didn't know, like I thought I didn't even know Dick Tracy from 91's like a classic movie or whatever.
Dude, I mentioned our friend Ron has a crazy Dick Tracy collection. Like I think he has like all the characters. I think he might have like almost all the merchandise for it. On top of like,
so did he know about Dick Tracy zooming in?
I sent him. I sent him. Hey, dude, Fox sent us this. Check this out. And he's probably working, so he didn't get back to me. But like, what I think it is probably like Warren Beatty's kids or some shit like that. We're like, hey, let's try this. Like everyone kept calling it like an avant-garde like art piece or something like that. Where I was like, that's a bit bold. But it just seemed like it was somebody like our age or younger was like, this is like just be super weird. Like pretend like you're Dick Tracy all over again.
So on a side note, I told Stephanie about this morning, and she's like, wait, I don't get it. And I was like, no, it's just a fucking weird YouTube thing. Warren Beatty came out, was a Dick Tracy, and she's like, so are they thinking about making Dick Tracy a musical? And I was like, no, not Wayne Brady.
Huh?
And she thought Wayne Brady was playing Dick Tracy.
Yeah, instead of Warren Beatty.
Oh, she got confused with Wayne Brady and Warren.
And I was like, yeah, she's like, so like, is it going to be a musical? And I was like, what the fuck? You're like, no, not Wayne Brady.
I would like to see that now.
I would rather see that.
Yeah.
Dick Tracy's gonna have to choke a bitch. Yeah, it was weird. Like crazy. I flipped through a lot of it, but it was like every time I stopped, I was kind of like, what the fuck is going on here? And I would watch for a few seconds. I would just kind of skip through it, and it was I definitely kind of got the impression that like a younger person was directing it, and it was like just be like super irrelevant, like just be like
apparently it was him directing it.
Well, then he clearly needs to be diagnosed for like dementia or like something.
My big thing is like who asked for that? Like it's just like,
if it's a movie rights thing, if it's a rights thing, do something cool though. Like release
make an actual movie.
Or not even that, like, hey, here's unreleased behind the scenes footage of Dick Tracy. Here's like 45 minutes or an hour of it, or like a documentary on it, or like something. Like nobody was like, I'm not gonna say nobody was a fuck, but like was like, oh, wow,
just do Dick Tracy commentating on the movie.
Yeah,
like, like me punching 7 guys. That doesn't make sense.
Well, I think didn't he take credit to at one point for like the Apple Watch?
Right.
Where is it? I want to see how many views it has. Dick Tracy zooms in. It's got 27,000 views, and it just came out 6 days ago. So
maybe there will be another movie. This is like the John Travolta.
We're spreading the word.
Well, he did say. Because they asked him, they're like, is this because there's going to be another movie? And he was like, well, I can't say no, but I can say yes. And it was
it's probably
I've been talking to Wayne Brady.
Like, I don't think I think it's really hard to like option a movie when you're like 80 years old.
Dude, he probably can't physically or mentally handle creating a movie.
Yeah.
And I bet because he's so old, he's been making movies for so long. He's like, this is how you make movies.
I mean, he fucked up the Oscars.
Huh?
He fucked up the Oscars with I forgot the actress with Moonlight.
Jada Pinkett Smith.
No, he called. They called him and I can't remember the actress. They called Best Picture went to La La Land, and it was supposed to be Moonlight.
Oh,
you're speaking Korean right now, bro.
Yeah.
But no, I bet he's like so set in his ways. Was like, we need actual sets, and they're like, dude, that's not how it works nowadays. Like, we don't do sets anymore. He's like, we need this, and they're just like, dude, just fucking once he dies, man. Like they probably told his kids, like, once he dies,
I can spell Dick Tracy.
Yeah,
bury him in the yellow hat and just
okay. But yeah, I'm sure that's why I would not be surprised if that's what it is. Where he's like, we need actual sets, we need filters, and they're like, it's all CGI now, bro. Like
filter. We need light filters. Boom mics.
And they're like, yeah, we just need an iPhone. That's all we need. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I have, unless you guys have anything else. I didn't realize it was fucking 10:30. I'm kind of hammered right now. I'm not gonna lie. I've been episode 10.
Well, you started drinking 30 minutes before we started this episode because
No,
you didn't have audio.
Oh well, no, I actually started as soon as the audio started. Dick Tracy zooms in. Josh becomes a porn star. Trees that smell like jizz. I think that's really kind of it.
I think so.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know if you guys have anything else.
No, well, call the hotline.
Call the hotline. Yeah, no, it did. Yeah. I have been messaging with the dude that could help us out with the cooking episode. And just kind of, I'm planning on meeting with him and hopefully kind of like figuring out how we can do it. Yeah, so that's kind of the next, hopefully, big thing that we can do. So, but
you would say the mixer of the stew,
the spoon to the stew,
the spoon, or the bowl.
Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll figure it out.
That's cool.
He's super down to do it. It's just we kind of got to like figure out how to do it. So
we'll feed him.
Oh yeah, we'll make you laugh. We'll feed you, and we'll if he drinks, we'll get him drunk. So
yeah.
But and I offered to help. I was like, I'll help you like edit all this shit and everything. So alrighty, y'all. Well,
all right.
I think that's it. Episode 10. We've made it 10. Only 3/4 of the stew of the gallon of stew. But I thought it was a pretty good episode. How about you guys?
Yeah.
Hopefully next one we're in person.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone's kids aren't sick in like a week and a half or whatever. So
yeah.
And then I'll be hopefully the next one will be a live to tape cooking show. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So
all right,
dudes.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! That's not where you find the huzzah.
That's Jay-Z, Diamonds in the Sky.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I'm going to bed.
All right. Yeah. Good night, guys.
Later. Sweet dreams.